I have been amazed at how well this hedge trimmer attachment works as a forestry and land management tool. I'll show you right now what this can accomplish. A couple years ago, I asked the local Stihl dealer what would be the best attachment for one of these for cutting small woody brush and poison oak flush with the ground. I was picturing a circular blade, but he steered me away from that. He said if you're using a circular blade close to the ground, there's a good chance you're going to get it in the dirt, you're going to hit rocks sometimes, you're probably going to be sharpening it a lot. And that circular blade throws stuff all over the place. If you're cutting poison oak, that means it's throwing pieces of poison oak and poison oak juice all over the place. We both agreed we don't want that stuff being splashed on us. It's just not a pleasant thing. They have forest land they manage not far from here. He said they prefer the hedge trimmer. It doesn't throw things like the circular blade. It's easier to keep out of the dirt. It stays sharp longer. It's 2 feet long. With each pass, you're covering 2 feet of ground. What he said all sounded good, but I hesitated in getting one for about a year because it's a hedge trimmer. This is what landscapers use for trimming hedges. I'm looking for a forestry machine for cutting small, woody, brushy material. But after thinking about it, isn't that what hedge trimmers do? When you're trimming a hedge, you're cutting small, woody, brushy material. Since this dealer's never steered me wrong, a year later, I finally decided to try one out. I'll show you what it can do. On camera, it doesn't look like there's a lot of brushy, woody material in here. A lot of it's still getting its leaves on. But when you get down close, there's a lot of it in here. One of the advantages is it has a 2-foot long cutting edge. It cuts 2 feet of ground in each pass. I haven't tried cutting just grass with it yet, but that is on my to-do list. I put myself in second gear so I can move a little faster. This isn't turbo mode, we'll do that later. After I cut the brush down, if I go over it just a few times, it lops it up into little pieces where it lays close to the ground. It'll rot quickly that way, which means we can be lazy and not have to clean up the mess. All these sticks, I thought these would be a problem. I thought I was going to have to clean up all these sticks first. But they are not a problem. If they don't fit between the teeth, it just pushes them aside. It does have its size limitations. Pieces like this, it's not going to cut those. It cut the smaller tops off, but it won't do the thick base. If it hits something it can't cut, it's not a problem, it just doesn't cut it. Then you can come back with whatever your favorite bigger brush cutter downer is. I find it just as easy sometimes to use some loppers. Take care of these bigger ones once. As long as we maintain the place, we won't ever have to deal with those again. This is not a sponsorship. It's not a sponsorship. This is not a sponsorship. This is not a sponsorship or any kind of paid promotion. I'm just sharing a tool that works in the places where it works. It has its limitations, but places where it works well, it works well. If you want to buy one of these, you can go to whoever is selling one. The angle is adjustable. You can adjust it this way, or this way, or anywhere in between, wherever there's a hole here. I think, oh, it'll even go this way. I don't know what you need that for, but I think this way would be good for this slope. Actually, a little bit less. That should work. When I first got this, I thought it sounded like the engine was running rough, but I've been told by multiple people with this combination, this is just how they sound. This is the part where my microphone died, but I didn't realize it. There I am yapping on like I think I know what I'm talking about, and nobody can hear a thing. Pointing at something over there, then pointing at something back there. If only I can remember what it was I was saying. Probably wasn't that important anyway. At one point I think I might have been talking about how it seems like with this thing that isn't spinning, you don't really need safety glasses. But earlier when I was down in the ditch, something did fly up and hit me in the face. It didn't hurt, but if I didn't have glasses on, it could have been an eye poke, which I would not have liked. Which all goes back to what Daffy Duck said. It almost looked like that was what I was actually saying. If I remember right, I think I was saying these bushes over here are a little more tough. This ocean spray gets a little bit tough as it gets older. We'll see how much of this it'll be able to cut. Occasionally I run into one of those where the base of it is too thick and I have to cut it with the loppers, but with most of it, it's able to cut it all off right at ground level. When I first started using this a year ago, it was on video. Several viewers told me, stop running the throttle on it like a chainsaw. Instead, just hold the throttle open constantly. They were right about that. I was trying to use it like a chainsaw. It was very helpful to start doing it the way they told me to. When you've run a chainsaw for so long, I've got into the habit of thinking anything that's handheld that goes vroom vroom, you're going to run it in the same way. I still do the same thing sometimes running battery powered equipment. That took care of everything except these thick hazel stumps I cut off with a chainsaw a while back. Not everything can do everything, so we'll make quick work of those with the chainsaw. I built a fire on these once to try to burn them off, but the fire wasn't here long enough to burn them off. With the electric chainsaw, I don't have to worry about it sucking ash into the air cleaner because it doesn't suck air and it doesn't have an air cleaner. I just have to make sure it doesn't get sucked up into my air cleaner. And I have my dull cutting in the dirt chain on it. Well, at least now it's my dull cutting in the dirt chain. It's starting to look like a park back here, minus the logs and the stumps, and it's missing some old guy sitting on a park bench feeding the pigeons. Of course, most of this is just going to sprout right back, but we've taken care of the most difficult part. That's taken care of all the old woody material. We've got it mowed down right to ground level. The stuff that sprouts back is going to be young and tender. It won't be a big deal every year to come through here and just cut it all off. It's going to need to be mowed anyway every year to take care of the fire hazard. The grasses and the forbs, that's all going to need to be mowed. That plus all the tender new shoots could be taken care of with a string trimmer, or even mowed with a mower if we get rid of the stumps. Not so much the ditch, but the flat parts. And the deer will be all over these new chutes in the late summer when things dry out and food gets scarce. We'll finish off this last bit here in turbo mode. This is only first gear in turbo mode. We're almost done. I don't have enough left here to justify going into second gear. That did quick work of all of that. Well, so, you know, like, as you can see, this did a nice job of covering this whole area. I thought I should throw an "as you can see" in here. I've been watching other YouTube channels. It's coming to my attention that I haven't been saying "as you can see" throughout my videos. One of these days, eventually, maybe I'll learn how to be a real YouTuber. I imagine some people might want to know what unit this is. The power head is a Stihl FS 131R. The business end of it, Stihl HL 145. It's not a quick attach type unit, but still it attaches fairly quickly. If you have a string trimmer type attachment on it, it's easy to take that off. Just loosen this one screw and it slides right off. Then slide the hedge trimmer on and tighten it with these two screws. The only trick to that is you have to make sure the drive shaft goes in to where it's supposed to go in, so the whole thing will slide in as far as it's supposed to slide in. As far as sharpening, I've never had to sharpen it, but as you could see, I did hit dirt a couple times. I think it could use a sharpening soon. I've been told you can use a file to sharpen each tooth by hand or use a small grinder. I've also been told with all those teeth having a cutting edge on both sides of each tooth that needs to be sharpened, it can be quite time consuming. This is after getting a lot of work done with it in the last year that I've had it. And getting it into the dirt a few times and hitting a few things I would rather have not hit with it. Even though it's less likely to get this into the dirt, it still manages to find its way there sometimes. The dealer told me if I bring it in for $35, they'll sharpen it. That's probably the way I'll go. There are a few spots where I missed, like here, over here. These are white oak suckers that are sprouting back from old stumps. I'm leaving these so they can grow up to be white oak trees. What other kind of tree would they be? Of course they're going to be white oak trees. A couple more over here. One here, one over there. This place is well stocked with oak stumps that will sprout into oak trees. That's it. I made a few other videos about this thing, including my strategy for controlling poison oak, blackberries, and general vegetation management for obnoxious woody vegetation. I'll put a link up here or here to a playlist of those videos and in the description, if I remember. It's a short list, I'm sure you have time. I'll let you go so you can go watch those.